Sir William Cash.
Madam Speaker, what would be unconscionable would be for us to have left the EU lawfully, which the EU has accepted, and then allow them to threaten us and to strangle our jobs and businesses by imposing unfair state aid rules which go much wider than traditional subsidies, and then for them to seek unwarranted legal action when we are properly defending our national economic and political sovereignty. If so, we would become a neutered, trivial Lilliput, an enslaved economic satellite of the EU. No UK Parliament could allow itself to be so prostrated. We won the referendum and the general election across the country because voters wanted to leave the EU and free ourselves from undemocratic rule from Brussels and from majority voting, and to regain our right to govern ourselves and our economic freedom. This bill guarantees this promise to them and to maintain the Union. On the question of international law, such law comes in all shapes and sizes. There are many instances of express override in UK statute law. The EU itself does sometimes break international law, including refusing certain compliance with WTO rules. EU retaliation by a blockade would be utterly unlawful. Even the Belfast Agreement contains notwithstanding provisions, as does USA statute law. The express powers in the bill, which constitute the taking of powers rather than actual implementation, are justified precautions against the risk of an expansionist interpretation of Article 10 of the Protocol, which would lead to great uncertainty, litigation risk, and a serious threat to the territorial integrity of the United Kingdom into the indefinite future. There has never been a level playing field in the EU. Their cardinal objective in these negotiations from the outset has included preventing us from being able to compete fairly. This is not good faith. Under the protocol, they would even control our legal tax freedom to create free ports and enterprise zones. All of this would massively undermine our businesses and jobs and therefore our voters. Consider the wide legal sphere of EU state aid regulation. It is concerned not only with subsidies but also tax reliefs, taxation favouring particular sectors or undertakings, remission of national insurance contributions, bank bailouts such as those of RBS and Lloyds, where contrived draconian EU legal conditions were imposed, and a raft of other measures too numerous to list, but they include gas tariffs for horticulture, airport landing fees, private health insurance, carbon trading emission certificates for free, failing to follow public procurement procedures and so on. By contrast, more recently the German government has procured approval for vast amounts of aid, notably for Lufthansa, and this is a pattern that has continued for decades across many commercial sectors. And I would recommend people to read Ambrose Evans-Pritchard's article today in the Daily Telegraph. Mr. Skekovic has outrageously dared to threaten the UK Parliament itself if we do not remove the clauses, and he misrepresents our position on the Good Friday Agreement. This contradicts our sovereignty and autonomy, which the EU accepted. They seek to subject us to a foreign regulator taking essentially political decisions and armed with undemocratic prohibition powers and authorisations. It would be unconscionable and utterly naive for us to allow this to happen, contrary to our national interests and at this time of economic instability generated by coronavirus. I would remind the House that Section 38 of the 2020 Act was passed without a single person formally objecting either on second reading or in committee in either House. This bill is needed as an insurance policy and a guarantee of our national sovereignty within the meaning of the Vienna Convention and also of our national security.